America's already proven that it can't do anything about it. It had its shot and it fails.
So we're going to have a mess for up to a year or longer.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Gold is for war, Bitcoin is for flight. And when people are nervous or something bad is about to happen, something wicked this way come, it goes up. And a couple of days before, out of nowhere, Bitcoin went vertical. And for me, that was a signal that people in the know were in the know knew.
It's been more than 30 days since the Iran war broke out, and our next guest has been spot on in calling for how the conflict would unfold and when. This was what he said on my show on the 27th of February, a day before the US and Israel struck Iran. Take a listen.
So it's not a question of money, certainly not at this level of danger. Yeah, it's about whether they're going to actually do it and whether Iran's sensible enough to say we won't build a nuclear weapon. We'll make sure that you can check that we're not, and we'll all re-enter the global community. And if they had any sense, they'd do that. But you notice the problem with that statement, if they've got any sense. But it can't happen because obviously, that would be too sensible and too straightforward and too easy, and everybody would be, so much better off. So probably the bombs will drop any minute.
And now he's back with us to give us his updated outlook on what's going to happen to the next 30 days of the war and which assets will move and what's going to happen to markets. Clem Chambers is back with us. He is the founder of ANewFN and CEO. And spoiler alert, he just sold everything last week. We're going to find out why. This video is sponsored by Kalshi. It's a fully regulated platform that lets you trade on real-world events from economic data to political outcomes. Sign up and use my code LIN, L-I-N, link in the description down below or scan the QR code here. New users will get $10 deposited to your account when you trade $10. And remember, traders can put money down on their favorite teams, events, elections, and more in all 50 states, including California and Texas and over 140 countries. Clem, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Yeah, well, I'm not CEO of ANewFN anymore. I've been asked by the British government to come and be the next Chancellor of the Exchequer. So, come on, you've ruined my April the 1st joke. Come on, April 1st. Oh, you've ruined it. Oh, okay.
No. He's being 100% serious, and we're going to get insights into the British government as soon as he takes office. Clem, thank you.
So anyway, no, I am out. I got out on the Friday because it was just when President Trump says, oh, no, we'll give you another 10 days to surrender. And I just went, no, brain crash. What? Don't know. Help me. I think I need to be in cash. I just let this one pass. It's like there's a like kind of lots of fireworks going outside in the street, but there seems to be no fireworks. Oh, let's go out and have a look. And it's Chicago. No. It's just, I've been very good predicting these things. My crystal balls have been very, very, very accurate. But now I'm just trying to protect my crystal balls. So I'm out of the market.
Right. But over the last, I would say 30 days, gold has fallen, stocks have fallen, Bitcoin has fallen. Do you think it's time for a rebound now, especially after today on March 31st? We're getting a huge rebound in stocks. The S&P is up by 2.5%. Gold's up 3%. Bitcoin's up 2%. And it looks like anytime we have good news coming out of, good news meaning possibly a resolution to the war. We have Iran now talking about negotiations. It looks like markets like that kind of de-escalation. So why wouldn't you get back in now?
Well, okay, so there's a very, very important technical point that you won't read about in books. It's from Clem's book of mysteries, stock market analysis. Okay, so trends. We all like trends, yeah? And trends that go up go float, correct. Float, correct. Bear markets go float downwards, float downwards, spike. Float, spike. It's the opposite waveform. So in a crash, you would expect violent rises. So I won't feel comfortable until it's floating up. If it's spiking up, at a bull trap or whatever you want to call it, maybe. I just feel it will take a miracle to sort out this mess in short form. And, either America just leaves and says, hey, we've made a mess, you clear it up. oh dear. And then what? I mean, what a mess that will be. Yeah. Or they stick around and make a further mess. Yeah. And what's the market going to do with boots on the ground? And it's interesting because my Substack and my YouTube channel, I've got a lot of people when I said I'm out, which I said on Friday, as soon as I was out, I posted the video and they all went, yeah, we've been out for days. We've been out for weeks. A lot of my people that follow me are long gone. So I think a lot of private investors, a lot of retail, as it's called in America, have gone. And why you've seen everything fall. I mean, what finally got me, as I'm looking at it, and I've got lots of military stocks, they're all down. Well, they should be up because it's bad. Well, they're down. Is that good? No, that can't be right. And then, gold is down. And all the good stuff that should be going up because there's peace, that's down too. It's all down. It's all down. And that means people are pulling money from the market. Well, I think if everybody is heading for the exit, that is probably a good sign to get in. But as I feel, if it's indiscriminate, then it's probably not a good sign. Now, today, well, Trump says he's leaving. Does that mean he's arriving? I mean, isn't it always the opposite that happens? So, how many times does he change the story? And it's a good strategy. It's a very old-fashioned strategy. It's kind of went out in the Middle Ages, but nonetheless, make sure that nobody knows what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
And fair enough. So I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen next. They are putting their money where the hope is. And as Sarah Payne would say, hope is not a strategy. And, did they turn the boats around with the Marines in? If I'd heard that and if I believed it, I would be bullish.
Clem, you were on the show on February 27th, and you had said that the Iran war could happen any minute now. Those were your words. And a day after we filmed that, Iran was struck.
So, Clem, which indicators did you take a look at to make that prediction? In other words, how did you know?
It's a long story, David. I'm not sure I can reveal my sources. Well, look. Me and Donald go a long way back, and he gave me a call. Now, look, the real answer is going to disappoint you, right? And people are saying that's rubbish. That is. Gold is for war. Bitcoin is for flight. And when people are nervous, or something bad is about to happen, something wicked this way come, it goes up. And a couple of days before, out of nowhere, Bitcoin went vertical. And for me, that was a signal that people in the know were in the know knew. And as we know now, there's so many people insider trading this stuff, or near-sider trading, or three doors down trading this stuff, that the signals are in the price before. So actually what happened today is after the news. So that's probably a good signal that it's not real. So if things start to move and there's no news, then something's about to happen. So if it was suddenly going up today and nobody said anything, you go, oh, well, that's interesting. What's going on there? Who's made a call from Pakistan about what's happening? Yeah, but the fact is, after the event, after the tweet, that to me is not a signal. So if something happens and there's nothing on the news, I mean, when it went up, or whenever that was, Wednesday or Thursday last week, when the president came out and made whatever comment it was that said it was all going to be great. Oh, well, the 10-day thing, yeah, that's what made me get out. It was like up it went. So obviously there was no, either the insider news didn't leak out or he just made it up.
Right.
So for me, what happens in the price or what happens in the chart is a forward warning of what's about to occur. And I've been watching Bitcoin and counting to 3, and then things happen. It's done it over and over again. So Bitcoin made that move, and all the other indicators, which I cannot talk to you about, said it's happening any minute. So I went long oil and made a good return. And on Monday, as my plan was to get out of oil, I got out of oil with a big profit. And if I'd held it for another, a few $100,000, it wouldn't have taken long. But, that's trading for you. You have a plan and you stick to it.
This is from Kalshi. It's a prediction market. This one says, when will traffic at the Strait of Hormuz return to normal? In other words, a complete de-escalation of the war, if not just a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which is a major step towards an ending of the conflict. So far, none of that has been reached. No such agreement has been discussed. So traders are predicting a 51% chance that the strait will be reopened by July, which is less than exactly 3 months from now. Clem, nobody knows what the next 33 days of the war is going to look like, but if we had to speculate, what would you say?
I would say that oil is not as high as it should be. Okay? It's $100. It was $140 several years ago. It was 120, wasn't it? 3 years ago. So it's not exactly high. So to me, that is a interesting number that everyone's saying, oh, the price of oil, the price of gas. Well, it was higher than that only 3 years ago. So that makes me think. I can't see it. You know, it's a replay of what happened in Ukraine. Oh, we're going to have a quick war, we'll win, and then it'll be fine. Oh, it isn't. Oh, whoops. Yeah. So it's the special military operation equivalent. And I don't see how that sorts itself out easily, because I do see, and I do think, and I have thought all along, that America will just go, right, you know, we've shown them and we're going to go away now. And if they don't behave, I'll come back and do it again. And that's a pretty interesting strategy. It's a new one and quite clever. But what it does to, everything else is another matter, because you are in this totally volatile situation where nobody knows who's coming and going. And what happens next? Are we going to get Cuba next week? Yeah. And are we going to get Taiwan next year? I mean, it's all the entropy is high, the randomness is high, therefore the volatility is high, therefore the range of outcomes is massively expanded. So you go from an investing situation into a trading situation. And I used to do quite well in trading when I was young and I had a stomach lining, but I don't do that anymore.
You're still young at heart, Clem.
Less bold. What's that?
You're still young at heart.
I'm still young at heart. I might have to start trading again, but you know, it's much better to invest in solid markets. Now, the AI thing is still going to be there when the smoke clears, and you know, what Occam's razor say? It's a mess. It's going to stay a mess. If the Marines are heading towards the Strait of Hormuz, why? Well, because they're going to get off, and boots are going to be on the ground. So, but you know, I haven't got a satellite watching it will happen. But I would say that. So
you think boots on the ground? Well, you called it last time. So you think boots on the ground are going to happen? That's going to happen.
I think it's whatever you think isn't going to happen is going to happen. So I think it would be very smart and wild and very Trump-like to just walk away and leave it in a big mess.
Basically, Sorry, please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I don't think that is what's going to happen. It's 60-40. 40%, he'll just, you know, do the seagull thing, just mess everything up and fly off. 60%, it will be boots on the ground, because ultimately, if America turns around and goes away again, the mullahs will say, we won, and now everybody else in the Middle East is fair game. And, you know, obviously, they are not decapitated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, they have basically, the Kraken has been unleashed, and if it's not slayed, it's going to run around and devastate the whole place.
This Strait of Hormuz issue is central to not just the war, but the markets at large. Scott Bessent has said, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said that the strait is an international waterway. He said this after Iran asked for a toll to be placed on any ships passing the strait. They said that as part of their conditions for ending the war or a ceasefire, one of the conditions is that they will have sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. And of course, Saudi Arabia and Oman also border the strait, and they're protesting among every single other nation in the world that uses that strait. Nobody wants to pay up to a $2 million per ship toll, I read. And so...
Well, it's a starting price, isn't it? It's just a starting price. The point is no one can afford not to pay the ransom. So it'll be 5 million, it'll be 10 million. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, I mean, these are not reasonable people. They're the guys that control the bottom half of Lebanon, have wrecked, Yemen and various other places. That that is a appalling regime, and yeah, they want to build a nuclear weapon, and of course they want to use it. They want to send everybody to Allah and let him sort it out. That's the good old medieval way. So the reason for doing it is very clear, but pulling it off is not an easy thing. And what you do if you don't pull it off is just open question. And do you want to have vast sums of money committed to long-term, strategic investments when the wheels are coming off? I don't. That's why I'm out.
And markets have no idea. Basically, 51% it's split. Nobody knows. Half the people are bullish, half the people are bearish. This is essentially how bullish are you? That's what this question means. Because once the Strait of Hormuz reopens and traffic flows through normally again, we have a collapse in oil and presumably all risk assets rebound again. I'm putting gold in that category. We'll talk about gold in a second. So what do you think needs to happen? What are the steps that need to be taken before the Strait reopens again? And how likely are those steps going to happen before July or this summer?
Well, I think it's very simply, it's a mess. And we all know that. So how long does a mess like this take to sort out? Well, it starts sorting out almost immediately, whatever happens. Yeah. When people start to disengage. Yeah. And it's basically capitalism works really fast on these things. So it's a 9-month cleanup. Yeah. And it's 18 months to sort out all the stuff that got blown up. Yeah, and all the LNG places. And of course, nobody there can afford a toe-to-toe long-term fight because basically none of this stuff is hardened. Yeah, none of these oil refineries, nothing's hardened. I mean, the whole of Dubai is one very large glass vase. Yeah, Dubai is the opposite of hardened. It's a fragile thing, right? So nobody can afford it. So if America pulls out, right, the Iranians can just say, we can just devastate you at arm's length by just flying a load of paper aeroplanes at you and just wrecking all your infrastructure. And by the way, America's already proven that it can't do anything about it. It had its shot and it failed. So now we're in charge because we're the vicious ones. And you can't afford to go to war with us because you're all, trying to be, a modern societies, and the thought of Armageddon is not something you want to do. So pay up. And, that's an important outcome. But nonetheless, to clear up, to get back to kind of work back to base again, it's a 9 months to a year.
So we're going to have a mess for up to a year or longer.
Well, I think that's fair, because if America disengages, it's a year. And if America goes boots in, then it's going to be a year. So it's just, well, what's the clever guy said? The difficult part of a 4-day war is the first 2 years.
Yeah. I wonder how this war has changed the relationship between the U.S. and its European NATO allies, if anything has changed. Recall that Trump has asked the Europeans to send warships into the Strait of Hormuz, and to my knowledge, so far they haven't done that.
Well, no, not if you're going to invade Greenland. Not if you're going to go around telling everybody they're idiots and retards. You're not going to get much support from those people, are you? Yeah. And correct. I mean, a lot of people have made a comment that basically Trump went around and wrecked a 50-year alliance or 80-year alliance by being so tactful and kind. Yeah. You're just not going to get any support if you go around doing what he's been doing. And he hasn't. And, there you go. I mean, the tweet he made today saying that, grow some to the British, if you want your oil, go get it. I mean, it's like, what planet does that come from? And you're not going to get this diplomacy. Well, yes, I'm not sure how you're spelling that. So, you're simply not, it's an alliance that's near enough dead. He's killed that alliance. Yeah, he's just killed it. I mean, he proved himself. He proved America, or not America really, but he proved that the current presidency is not a reliable ally. Yeah, favors Russia. Well, certainly doesn't say anything unkind about Russia, who's slaughtering hundreds of thousands of people on a whim. Yeah. And, the people that are defending themselves against this terrible thing, he's pillorying them. I mean, the whole point of diplomacy and all that stuff is so you have support, you have allies. Well, that's all gone out the window. And now he's gone into this war and he's threatening just to walk off. I mean, what kind of ally is that? Hey, we're going to have a war. Oh, we're fed up with it now. Goodbye. You clear it up. I mean, that is not going to get you much support, is it? I think Italy and France have said, don't fly your planes over us while you're heading there.
And Spain as well. They've closed us. The Spanish have closed their airspace to American troops. What are the investment implications of a weaker NATO alliance?
Well, I mean, Europe's got 500 million people and they're already arming themselves. So it's just a matter of time before, Europe is its own military superpower. A very reluctant one. But, they got thrown under the bus with Russia. And that was last year. And told that America was fed up with paying for it all and that they had to get on and do it themselves because America was dealing with China instead. I mean, they whatever his name is, unpronounceable, came out and said it. Absolutely said it. And all the military companies in Europe went through the roof the next day. That was very nice. I made a lot of money there. But, if you go around throwing allies under the bus, then these things are going to happen because America's focus is on, the Western Hemisphere, which is I don't know whether it starts in Hawaii or not, but it certainly goes halfway to across Britain, all the way to London. But keep London out and keep Iceland out of it, maybe Greenland's not out of it. And it says this is our power. This is our power base, the Western Hemisphere. Well, that says that's ours. Go sort yourself out. And China is our adversary, which is the new word for enemy. Now, what has happened now, which I think is not that negative, is probably really positive, and nobody will ever know, is it's probably highlighting to China that there's better things to do than reclaim Taiwan, because this is America's kind of Taiwan, isn't it? I mean, Iran has been the vocal, annoying, trollish enemy of America now since Jimmy Carter. And, Russia's gone and tried to do Ukraine, got itself in a mess. And now America, which is a superpower, has gone in against a feeble adversary. Yeah. And looks like it's going to run away. So maybe having 1 million of your soldiers killed in Taiwan is not such a good idea, which is what the army was telling Xi a few months ago, which is why he fired them all. But now he's probably thinking, ooh, maybe a third time lucky, but this maybe is not what I want to do next year. So that's why your gold is falling, because gold is for war, but there's only one war that counts, and that's America versus China. And that was going to be kicking off next year.
I'm sorry, what war is going to kick off next year exactly?
China invading Taiwan. That was what was on the timetable.
Right.
But it's not on the timetable anymore.
Okay. You don't think that's happening anymore? You don't think that's happening?
Well, no, that's why he had to fire his generals. He fired his generals. And, they were saying, as I understand it from a very good source who's near Taiwan, that there was rumors that the army was going to do a purge on Xi, that they were going to do a coup against him because basically he was all for, climbing up the cliffs and having everybody slaughtered. And they were saying, why would we do that? Just leave them alone. Let's just get on with it. And, that has happened, I believe, that China is now, not only did the army say, be sensible, let's not do that. They can now look at Iran versus America and see a massive force, a massive power getting enmeshed in a pointless war. Well, it's actually quite pointful, really.
Well, what are the markets signaling now? I mean, last time you were on the show, and this is a chart of gold, oil, stocks, and Bitcoin. Last time you were on the show, you said that Bitcoin, gold, and oil will tell us in advance if the Iran war is getting serious. Which of these have been the most reliable signals so far? And you'll see that everything except oil has fallen.
Well, money's come out, and oil has gone up, but not as much as it should. Now, what is moving up is the soft commodities, and that shows you that the fertilizer issue is a thing, right? Because all that fertilizer is not going to be around for the planting season this year because it's been disrupted, which means it's going to be lower yields, and therefore, our food is going to be short, and therefore prices of softs are going to go up. So that is the thing. Yeah. So the markets are telling you that the fertilizer issue is a proper issue. Oil is not as high as I would imagine it could be. And if suddenly it did go through the roof, or if suddenly it took a big run, like oil and Bitcoin up suddenly in the next few days, and that's boots on the ground on the way. Yeah. If the Bitcoin comes down, that's likely to mean that people aren't planning to run in Iran after all, and that they, think they're winning. So, Bitcoin down, America's losing, right? And oil up. So it's a messy picture, and that's why I don't really want to be in it, because I'm not a geopolitical analyst, but I can tell it's a mess. Does anybody think it's not a mess? And if I look at the chart, that's a bear market. The stocks are in a bear. Now, it might be a short-term one. Bears don't tend to be that short-term, but it's not crashing. It's just grinding down. And grinding down, trending down, that's not good, because in a crash, it tends to start off like that, and then everybody heads for the exit. Now, I can't tell you what's going to happen if Trump is good for what he's saying and they just turn around and go away. I don't know what that does. I mean, what does that do? I mean, it doesn't sort out the Gulf of Hormuz, does it? So it doesn't sort out oil. It doesn't sort out lack of fertilizers. It doesn't sort out all the issues with gas that isn't coming out of Qatar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. It probably makes it worse. So, I just see the fog, and I don't want to be walking around with in the fog in the middle of a battle. I've got a choice. I don't have to play in this environment, so I'm not. And a lot of people have taken that route. And as soon as it starts to clear again, I'll just go back in the market. I hate being out of the market. I hate it with a vengeance. It's just like, it's the thing I enjoy the most. And to have to sit there on a pile of cash like a greedy dragon is not my style.
You're going to be sitting there for a while, like we talked about earlier. It could last for a year, this uncertainty, right?
Well, the uncertainty can last for a year, but there's some certain long-term things that will relatively sort out quickly. And, the AI super cycle, the commodity super cycle will sort out quickly. And then once that's sorted out, off we go. But, when we're in this environment where everything's going down, because people are putting their money into cash, at some point, all the people that are going to cash will have gone to cash. And then there will be stable prices. The volatility will shrink, and it doesn't matter what the news flow is. You'll be able to see it in the daily bars, wide daily bars that nobody knows, and everybody cares. And then when people stop caring and people start knowing, it will shrink down. And when the volatility goes, I will probably re-enter whatever the situation is, because that tells me that it's worked out through the system. Because, what happens is the range of the outcome is basically a mathematical formula of the daily bar. You look at the daily bar and you can say, wow, the future, it could go any direction. And the narrower that bar, the narrower the potential outcome of the future is. Yeah. So when a planet Mars attack occurs, which we have several of those in the White House, those bars go bang, and the future becomes very difficult to predict. But generally, as you can see in any chart of the S&P and the Nasdaq, those bars are small, and we will see, as we were seeing with gold before it, went into this current position. We had the gold spike, the silver spike, and it crashed, and it started to lose its volatility and go back on trend, and then this thing happened. So that's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching for a drop of volatility, a easing of an increase in certainty, which will be expressed by that range, that daily range or weekly range. And then when it looks like we've gone beyond, insanity and chaos, then I'll just be easing in, looking for the low hanging fruit. And I'll just move in and go, oh, that's gone down too much. I'll have some of that. And that one, that's going to be brilliant in a couple of years. I'll have some of that. And that's how I'm going to.
So between gold, Bitcoin, oil in stocks. Which of these do you like the most now? I know you're out of the market, but if you had to pick one of these.
I got one stock, and I forgot that I kept it, but I did keep it for a reason. It's an oil stock, and it's Equinor, and all their oil is in the North Sea. And, probably, Russia will blow up Norway, and that'll be a bad pick. But, Norway, North Sea oil, nothing anywhere else. That's probably the best place to have your oil. Because if you're Shell or BP and you've got $1 trillion worth of hardware in the Middle East, it's not so good for you, is it? So, because a lot of these oil companies have a diversified portfolio of oil assets, that makes them, there's a drag on their upside because, all that, again, their infrastructure is not hardened. I mean, you can fly one of these blooming plywood drones at them and take the damn thing out. And, that's why Trump doesn't like his windmills. It's not because they've spoiled the landscape. It's because you can't rely on your country's infrastructure if you can knock them down with a shotgun. I mean, if you think about windmills, all those electrical windmill out there. I mean, what does it take to knock one of them out? Nothing. You could take them out with a pea shooter. So you can't fight a war if you've got all your electricity being driven out off of, wind turbines. You are totally vulnerable, aren't you? I mean, Britain has a conflict with Russia. Half their energy is coming from windmills in the North Sea. Boom, it's gone. It's gone in a night. So, these strategic things now, first of all, it's the supply chain. And now lots of infrastructure, people are going to have to look at it and go, we've got to harden this. And there'll be companies that will be hardening infrastructure like Fluorol, which I no longer hold, but temporarily anyway, who will be the sort of people that will harden the sort of infrastructure that will need to be hardened because everybody's flying paper planes at each other and blowing up infrastructure.
Also, defense companies, there's big contracts that the U.S. has with AI companies like Palantir, data companies. How do you feel about, and also Anduril making drones, which is the new age of warfare? It's currently happening.
And Anduril, or however you pronounce them, Palmer Luckey, he's certainly pushing out the envelope there. I've been looking at that area and I decided I would protect my karma. But, he's certainly what America needs and people like him to build that sort of stuff because that's what's coming next. Nobody needs a 50 million pound tank now. That is all gone. And, what the Ukraine has done, making this 20-mile wide kill zone that, a bunny rabbit can't even get across, is a new reality. And, that new reality is all about new weapons. And I wrote a book, a science fiction book about 10 years ago, called The Twain Maxim, where there were robot dogs with machine guns on before that was a thing. And, it is a new world. And then when you go and you see these drone shows where they're painting pictures in the sky, thousands of them all coordinating, it's kind of, it's all change. And, companies like Anduril and, Palantir too. But I think people like Palantir will get caught up with pretty quick all over the world. Software, I think it's easier to catch up. Hardware, a bit more complicated. So I think drones, if you look at, I was talking to a guy that makes drones only a couple of days ago, where I am talking about them. They fly around oil wells and look for leaks. But it's the tip of the spear, isn't it? But anyway, hopefully none of us will be around to see it, and hopefully some sanity will break out. What could go right after all? Sanity might re-emerge, but certainly we're in a new era. And we're in a new epoch, and it's going to be pretty wild to navigate it. But if you can call it right, I don't want to trade this. Yeah, I want to invest in the future, but one's going to have to bring one's time horizon in somewhat to be able to play it. The horizon is too. I'm out because the event horizon is in front of my face. But when that event horizon starts to move out into sort of 6 months, I'll be moving back in again, and people will be able to see that in the width of the daily bars, in the S&P 500. And as they shrink, so sanity is on its way. And as they expand, madness is here.
Andrew isn't on the market yet, but it's expected they might IPO this year. Other top anticipated IPOs I have on my screen: SpaceX, OpenAI, ByteDance, Anthropic, Databricks, Stripe, Revolut, and Canva. Which
I'm
of
not sure
these
about
would excite
Anthropic.
you?
I think they shot themselves in the foot, didn't they?
How so?
Well, they put the government's nose out of joint by saying they weren't going to do anything that might be nasty. Might be nasty.
Maybe
We'll
investors like that. I don't know. Some people don't like AI companies being involved with the Pentagon, which is partly why OpenAI has been under a lot of flack lately, because they've taken some contracts with the Pentagon. So I don't know. Maybe
I'm not sure
that
that's an audience busy in the market.
Right.
Maybe it is. But, I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, SpaceX is almost critical to the American future ascendancy. I mean, that is about the only thing that America's got that really is ascendant. I mean, robots? Oh, no. Oh, no. Tesla and their robots. Oh, no. I can already buy a Chinese one in a store for $20,000. The same one that was doing the kung fu and the backflips. That one that we saw, I can buy it. I got offered it in England, $19,000.
You got offered a kung fu robot. What would it do for you?
Open the door just to scare the postman.
What would you need a robot for, Clem? To do your laundry?
I mean, make me a cup of tea. Make me a cup of tea.
Okay.
It's just that. But I mean, I would have one just to play with it in the same way I've played with new technology all the time. But my point is that Tesla's putting its whole future, $1 trillion future. After all, it's been surpassed on the car front. Yeah.
But let's talk about that. They've discontinued the Model X and Model S to free up factory space for the robots. How do you feel about that strategy?
That ship has left. That train has left. That ship has sailed. Those robots out there in China, they're here, they're now. They're on sale. They're not stumbling across a video in a factory somewhere. They are here now, and they're available. You can buy them. So I think, Tesla, I mean, the car, when it came out, was like format changing. Yeah. It was a game changer. It was an amazing thing. You looked at it and went, wow, aren't those door handles funny? What a great shape. It's all electric. Amazing. Yeah. It was an amazing step change. Yeah. And the Chinese are caught up. They've had to ban Chinese electric cars in America because they're too good. Yeah, because it would wipe out the American auto industry and Tesla with it. So Tesla's got, and I've ruined my reputation in most of the world. I'm going to do robots. That should keep us afloat. Where is it? Where's your automatic driving? Nowhere, right? And where's your robot? Nowhere. Where's their robot? The one that's doing backflips, not stumbling across a carpet, doing backflips on a stage full of them, all doing backflips, not just one. Yeah, so and then the big one comes out with a gigantic sword, and I can buy it in a store right here, right now. What's going to, hello? Why is it even, I keep looking at shorting it, but I don't do shorting, and I go, I don't care. Why would I just make 75% of my money shorting Tesla when I can make 70% on something going up?
What is the next tech revolution you would actually buy? Is it robotics?
It's Agentic AI. And that's already out here. It's already on my computer, costing me a fortune. And OpenClaw is the genie out of the bottle, because I've had all this AI and I love it. And I go, I want it to read my email and take all the spam out and send it back to the guys that sent it to me. I want the AI to do that, but it doesn't get out of its sandbox. It's in this little web window, and you say, could you do that? Oh, no, I can't do that. Could you email my wife and tell her that I'm playing on my computer? Oh, no, I can't do that. And OpenClaw came out, which is free software. And yes, it can email my wife. And yes, it can buy me an airline ticket, although I haven't trusted it to do anything like that. And it means that there's now what you can get in a window from AI. It's out the bottle. The genie is out the bottle.
Yeah.
And that genie out of the bottle, now that is another game changer. And the NVIDIA guy, who I can't pronounce, came out and said it was the biggest development in software since the, invention of the abacus.
I haven't gotten an AI agent to reply to my emails, because by the time I prompted to reply to an email. I could have just written that email myself. But what other use cases could you think of, Clem, that could benefit people like you,
what it does for me, and what it's doing for me right now, is that it goes out onto the interwebs in the middle of the night and looks at all the news.
Right.
It knows what I'm interested in. It pulls it down. It ranks it out of 100 in being interesting, and it gets me information, more information, emails and stuff like that.
That's right.
And it's waiting for me. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What I was trying to do today, and what I managed to do, was to get it to read through all my email. I was at a big Ethereum conference yesterday, and I had like 12 meetings to interview people. And, I'm an old senile bloke, and I go, well, who am I meeting, where and when, and how do I get in? How do I get my badge? I just go through Telegram. I talk to my Mac Mini, and I say, hey, can you read my email? Tell me who I'm meeting and when, and what's their name and who they're from and what they do and what's their dog's name, and tell me a little bit about them, because I'm on a train and I'm lost. And there it all is. And it's read my email, plucked out all the information I need to know, because I get 300 emails every day. And amongst the last 2 weeks of setting this all up, there's about 2,000 emails. It's gone through all the 2,000 emails, extracted all the information I want, got more, because I thought I better know what these people are actually doing and when they did it and all that stuff. And it's got it all for me, and it's emailed me on a train. So, and that again is just the tip of the iceberg. That's only what my fuddled mind has managed to work out would be interesting. So now I've got it that it's filling up my calendar. Only today, it's going through my email, pulling out my meetings of people to say, don't forget we're meeting tomorrow. And it's putting in my Google calendar. And I will be able to say, pull out all my meetings in my Google calendar and email them to me, will you? And give me a joke, or give me a limerick with the guy's name in it. There was a man called Lynn who didn't know where he'd been, that kind of thing,
Okay.
So that is the power of agentic. And I could, if I had the nerve, say, book me an airplane, book me a ticket to here, and book a hotel, ring up that restaurant with a voice and say, hi, this is Clem Chambers, this is AI. I'd like to book a table for 2 for 8. And it'll do that.
Okay, excellent. Well, Clem, let's end it here. I mean, that's a fascinating topic. Let's see how Agentic AI progresses, and people are using it to trade as well. So we can delve deeper into that.
Yeah, don't bother with that. Don't let someone else lose your money. Because the thing about AI is that the market is highly random, and it can't work on random. AI doesn't work on random; it works on non-random, and therefore, if you feed it a load of random, it'll do a load of random, and it'll be right half the time, and you'll lose it on costs. So anyway, you have been warned, but you have also been told AI, agentic AI, is the next big thing. But probably 6-9 months out. And it will be the next big thing in crypto when the crypto winter is over in 2 years.
Yeah. 2 years. Okay, well, let's follow up on that. Clem said
2 years for crypto, 1 year for equities.
Winter, 1 year for equities, 2 years for crypto. Clem, thank you so much. You've been spot on so far with pretty much everything we've talked about up till now. So follow Clem, link down below. Where can we follow you, Clem?
Substack. I have a Substack which I post to very, very regularly, and I do a couple of YouTubes inspired by David on my Clem Chambers Alpha, where it's all about how to make money in the market. Companies come up, of course, but it's not about tipping. It's about how you think about your investments and how you think about the market. That's what it's about more than anything. And, people keep emailing me saying they keep making loads of money from my ideas, which is really nice. So, there you go. Most of it on YouTube, most of what I say is free. Can you believe it? Free? What a wally. Okay. No, that wasn't an April Fool's. It is free.
Clem's not joking. And he's not joking about his calls either. Thank you so much, Clem. We'll speak next time.
See you soon.
And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and use my code LINLA. And when you sign up to Kalshi, new users using my code will get $10 deposited to your account when you trade $10. Link down below or scan the QR code here.